Now, the Lafayette City Police Department is in charge of the investigation in this case. They say they continue to follow leads and tips, but nevertheless, the evacuation order remains in place for those that live within a mile of the blast site. And as you can see behind me, Highway 190 in both directions remains closed. And we begin with that breaking news on this Monday. Welcome to News 2 at noon. I'm Jason Newton in for John Pastorek. A special meeting that was set for today to name a temporary mayor for Port Allen has been canceled. So we start the week with coats and jackets. We end the week with short sleeves and umbrellas.
Gotta love Louisiana weather. Crazy weather like that.
Changes every day. Victor, the good news to report on this one is that everything appears to be under control. As we speak right now, the Division of Forestry is packing up their bulldozers. You can see them pulling it onto the trailer here. Now, those little bulldozers, what they do is they plow a ring around the fire, around any brush fire, and they have a big tiller on the back of it. Here's the actual plow line. They put up a ring, a perimeter around, and the firefighters get inside of that perimeter so they can battle the blaze, also try to keep it contained within this perimeter. It clears out some of the dry brush and replaces it with moist soil coming up from under the ground. A quick trip into Bay Natchez and you'll soon notice the water gets rough.
That is giant salvinia.
And this little plant is costing the state big bucks, $8 million a year, as the plant spreads at a rapid pace. And the warm winter from Mother Nature was no help.
And this year, with a mild winter like we had, I'm expecting it to be maybe a little worse, for sure.
Now, the big issue with this salvinia plant is that it grows so large, it blocks out all the sunlight from getting inside the lake here, which in turn stops the oxygen from getting to the water. Microscopic algae produce the oxygen. They die with no sunlight. In turn, the fish die with no oxygen. And this floating water fern spreads like the plague.
If left unattended to, it has the ability to double its biomass every 5 to 7 days.
The salvinia is native to Brazil. There's no telling how it ended up in Louisiana.
That's a good shot. That's what it does. You see it? I'm carrying a whole island of it with me.
But one way to cut down on the rapid spread in our state is a basic for all boaters.
A lot of the ways that it's transported from water body to water body is it gets picked up on trailers.
Make sure you clean your trailers and your boats after every trip in the water. In Iberville Parish, Jason Newton, NBC 33 News. Not all the gifts are under the tree before sunrise Christmas morning. That's where Gregory Green steps in.
Hopefully that makes somebody's day.
He's a city carrier for the post office, making rounds with last-minute packages and presents to deliver early Christmas morning.
Well, I got a call from Santa, I guess, that they had a few packages that need to be delivered that he couldn't get around to, so I gave him the okay.
From PQ to Bluebonnet to Sherwood, he's dropping off packages at a pace that would even make jolly old St. Nick jealous.
I like being outside, like being out, not really the office type of person.
It may be a holiday, but his efforts don't go unnoticed.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Little Jolie saw the mailman outside and decided to spread some cheer.
Well, I looked out my window and I was opening some presents and I was doing this thing and I saw you and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
A homemade reindeer cupcake from a 10-year-old helps make spirits bright.
It's a chocolate and like it used pretzels for the ears and like a vanilla wafer for a mouth and M&Ms for like the nose and then the eyes.
With the load getting light, Green's day is coming to a close. A dedicated worker who wouldn't mind staying home for next year's Christmas deliveries.
I wouldn't mind passing it on, enjoying the holiday, but if I have to work, it's okay with me.
Jason Newton, WBRZ, News 2.
It's a danger zone, really, because you really can get killed.
For people who live in South Baton Rouge, you're just one blind spot away from life or death trying to cross multiple lanes on the interstate.
It's hard to merge over into the right lane for the Washington Street exit, and it's very dangerous.
The problem is for those coming from I-110, when it dumps onto I-10, there's only a short distance before you miss the exit on the opposite side. Cynthia Jones is president of the South Baton Rouge Civic Association and says the problem becomes much worse for elderly drivers and school buses. All right, so here we are on I-10 heading eastbound, and it turns into a lot of gridlock here if you're coming from 110, say, trying to get over to the South Baton Rouge area. You have to cut across 1, 2, 3, 4 lanes of traffic just to hit this exit here, Washington Street exit. This is what all the residents in the area are having issues with.
It's a lot of things need to be done in South Baton Rouge, but we can't get any help.
Fresh off her re-election in October, State Senator Yvonne Dorsey knows the situation well.
So it's a life safety issue.
Dorsey says she's set to meet with DOTD officials about traffic studies conducted. She says moving the Washington exit across the interstate to the left is the obvious solution. In the upcoming months, she vowed to pursue some ideas vigorously.
The city's grown, and we fixed other parts of the city so that they're safer. And I think that part has been neglected.
Police choppers buzzing overhead, and swarms of law enforcement spilled over the Zachary area near East Mount Pleasant Road Tuesday, even after finding the body of a 2-month-old boy in a wooded area.
Just a sad situation, horrible situation.
The boy's mother, 22-year-old Sabrina Maiden, now under arrest, charged with first-degree murder. Investigators say she left home Monday morning with the child after a domestic dispute with the boy's father. She was found a couple hours later on nearby Barskett Road.
She wandered into the neighbor's backyard. She was incoherent and combative, so they contacted EMS and they transported her to the hospital.
Her son, Javion Brown, was not with her. A relative called police to let them know that Maiden should have had a child. And at 2 a.m., law enforcement started their search.
This was a very exhaustive search for all the agencies that were involved, and I know it was a very disappointing outcome.
Neighbors were taken aback by the news.
It really saddens my heart to know that a baby was found dead.
Javon Anthony is a mother of 2 young children herself. She's sad that the dead child never had a chance to live life and was a completely innocent victim.
A child is a blessing from God, and anyone who wants to hurt a child should not do that. We should protect our children from any harm or danger from anything.